There's never been a better time to have SiriusXM. With even more exclusive content, with over 150 channels in your vehicle, including the widest, deepest variety of music, ad-free. Root for your team. Get news. Listen to whatever makes you laugh. And hear all about your favorite stars. Your Platinum Plan offer includes more than ever before to enjoy online, on your phone, or at home. Create your own ad-free personalized stations powered by Pandora. Hear ad-free extra channels filled with music and enjoy favorite shows with SiriusXM Video. Thousands of hours of shows and performances on demand. What you love is on now.
Car audio continues to be the backbone of the mobile audio industry. And this year, we've got tons of different innovations and new products to choose from. Tonight, we've got 5 of the most prominent brands, and we'll be covering everything from source units to amplifiers, subwoofers to application-specific kits, and everything in between. This is CMA Live, presented by SiriusXM, the Essential Gear episode, part 2, and it starts now. Hey guys, thanks for tuning in to another CMA Live. This time we're talking about car audio, and I'm your host, Ben Wu. We're going to go through a long list of different types of products through the different brands that we have featured tonight. And it's going to be a fun time because finally it seems like things are happening. New products are coming to the market. You know, obviously we still have challenges that everybody's going through when it comes to supply chain and delivery times, but at least there's starting to be some light at the end of the tunnel. And tonight's guests certainly are coming packed with lots of information that you, the dealer, could certainly benefit from to make the best choices for your business this season. So without further ado, let's go ahead and introduce and bring on to the studio our very first guest of the evening. His name is Chris Beulah, and he's the Global Product Training Manager for Sony.
Hey, Ben.
Hey, what's going on, Chris?
I'm doing great. Thank you. How about you?
I'm doing fantastic. CMA Live is a good time for me because I get to chat with some of my favorite people. We talk about some fresh product in all these different categories. This one happens to be one I'm kind of attached to. It's car audio. It's kind of where we all fell in love with, right? And car audio, bring it back to the roots. And, you know, Sony, man, you guys have been busy in the last few months for sure. And we're hearing through the grapevine there might be some new product for 2022. Can you tell us what you can at this moment in time?
So I can't tell you much. I can tell you that we are making an announcement this coming Friday at the Knowledge Fest showdown in Orlando, Florida. And I think we'll follow up with you guys with a live, 5-minute session at the show itself down in Orlando on site. So we'll be announcing a couple new products there. We do have a new product announcement event at that event. And we're providing lunch for retailers that want to attend that. And they'll get to see the products in person. The press release will go out at exactly the same time as that new product event.
Amazing. So you have some new product you're announcing at K-Fest in Orlando. You and we're going to have a conversation live from the show on Saturday. And let's not forget, remind our listeners, we also got you all to ourselves. So we're going to tear it apart, go deep diving on everything that you launched on the weekend on Tuesday. So that's something definitely you guys want to mark down on your calendar. Okay, let's talk about some of the stuff that's come out recently, though. You know, Sony Mobile ES, you guys, I can't believe it's already been a year that it's been out. But let's remind some of these dealers, what are some of the key features and benefits when it comes to that Sony Mobile ES line of product?
Yeah, so I appreciate you bringing that up because that's been a really big deal for us. It took a lot of kind of time and convincing for us to really get Japan to really bring back that mobile ES, product lineup. I mean, that brand in itself was kind of untouchable for a long time. And we just really kind of sat down with our engineering and product planning team and said, listen, here's what we need out of the product. I think if we build this, that they will come. And sure enough, it's been a wild success. We designed those mobile ES products to really be installer friendly, right? So, we as installers, that's kind of our backbone with this US team. we are the ones who put these things in the vehicles and test them, right? So it was really important to us to make these things easy to install, easy to service, and just really sound good. That's the heart of Sony, which is sound. I mean, that's it. So yeah, it's been a rousing success for us. It's been out just a little bit less than a year, I think, is when we started shipping Mobile ES speakers. And we just a couple months ago announced a few new speaker products and a few amplifiers that are coming down the line. So
very, very exciting stuff. And you mentioned that speakers, amplifiers. We want to remind dealers that Sony is indeed a full line product offering. I want to give you that opportunity to kind of explain to dealers why Sony is such a good partner when it comes to offering that full line catalog.
It's interesting because most people in the industry, retailers and even consumers alike, they consider us just a head unit company, right? And I think we fought long and hard to just really kind of put our name on really good sounding speakers and amplifiers, and we've had them for a long time, but nobody really took notice, right? There's a lot of really good companies out. Some of them are on this feature today. That make great amps, great speakers, great subs. And so we are just kind of a face in the crowd at that point. With the reintroduction of Mobile ES, I think it gave us the opportunity to re-spark that energy around how good we are at those categories, right? So the speakers, are very competitive at their price point. The amplifiers will be class leading in several different factors when they are launched in a couple months here. So just a lot of stuff going on, and we just kind of want to reestablish that we're really good at things other than the head units.
Very, very, very cool. I should have asked this probably before because we're kind of talking about Mobile ES, and I've been curious about this myself. I've seen the videos, I've seen the presentation. We've had training sessions together about Mobile ES, Sony Mobile ES product. But what has the response been like? What has some of the feedback been from some of these customers? Because I have to imagine that there's that group of customers that probably maybe remember the original Sony Mobile ES line and can connect the dots there. But I'm sure there's a lot of dealers and consumers, for that matter, that might be being introduced to Sony Mobile ES brand for the very first time. So what's the feedback been?
So yeah, a couple layers there, right? So the people who experience Mobile ES for the first time now with this relaunch are super enthusiastic and don't really have kind of the historical kind of reference of what it used to be, right? But I mean, everybody, whether they've known it before or not, has been very positive about it. Everybody, is very happy with the way the speakers and the subs sound. They will be very happy with the way these amplifiers perform. Our team has been testing them nonstop for about 6 months now, and we have some new products on the way that'll be very exciting as well. But the dealer response has been very good for a couple reasons. One is these products are very easy to put in a car, right? And you can make a great sounding speaker, you can make a great sounding and or performing amplifier, but if it's tough to put it in a vehicle, it's just not as installer friendly, if you will. And listen, at the end of the day, what the guys like to install in the back of the house dictates what they sell in the front of the house, right? So it was always very important to us. That was one of our primary focuses when we were redesigning this product. So like I say, dealer response has been great. Customer response has been outstanding. They love the way it sounds. I would say it's probably split 50-50 on people who know the legacy of Mobile ES and those who are new. The guys and ladies that know the older kind of legacy Mobile ES, this is a different type of product, right? It's not as untouchable as the old Mobile ES was, right? This is a little bit more attainable, much higher value for the dollar, in our opinion, with this relaunch. But we had to do that, to make it relevant within the industry. So yeah, really good response overall.
Yeah, and what you just said is a testament to the thought process and the development and the design of what you want to come out with. Yes, higher end, but more. I like how you said that, more attainable at the same time. So what's the most important message now? We're kind of halfway through this year. Believe it or not, we're already June. There's some big announcements coming up. What message do you have for retailers as we kick off Q3 and Q4 of this season?
Well, I often say this in my trainings, and it's one of those things that it's kind of tongue in cheek, because I know a lot of the information, the products that are coming down the pike, right? So I always tell everybody kind of stay tuned, right? And that's that couldn't be said any louder right now. We've got a lot of really cool product that is just over the horizon, and we're, like I say, we're announcing some of that this Friday. And with that mile marker in the whole process, you'll start to see a pretty thorough and rapid rollout of some new products throughout the next year. So stay tuned is all I can say. It's the old moniker is soon only not yet with Sony, but I think that's changing a bit.
I just realized soon only not yet is the acronym. That's funny.
Listen, we hear it all the time, right? So, and if I don't say it, somebody else will. But it's something we've had to live with for a long time. But I think we've changed that a bit. I mean, you've seen some pretty consistent product rollout with Mobile ES, and we plan to do that with our core line as well.
Very good, very good. So again, you've seen the numbers on the screen, the info. If you're looking for more info, Sony.com, big website. Check that out. Find Car Audio. And if you're a dealer in Canada, you're interested in some Sony product, whether it's the core line, like Chris said, or the Sony Mobile ES line, get a hold of the folks at Gentech, gentech-intl.com. Looking forward to chatting with you on Saturday, Chris. 12-volt insider from Knowledge Fest. I can't wait to pick your brain when that announcement happens. Thanks for coming in today.
Thanks, Ben. Thanks, crew. See ya.
All right, so that was Chris Bueller from Sony with some big news coming down the pipe. For those of you going to K-Fest in Orlando, lucky you. But if not, make sure you tune into CMA Networks on Saturday. We're going live to Knowledge Fest. We've got a bunch of different guests, Chris included, that we can finally talk about some of this top secret stuff that he was making reference to. All right, let's move on to our very next guest, representing a brand that does so many things and does it so right. They control their own manufacturing. It's a really unique situation when it comes to Powerbase. We're lucky enough today to have their vice president, Eric Harbour, joining us. Hey, Eric.
How are you?
I'm super well. Thanks for taking the time today to talk to us about some Powerbase. How are you doing today, and how's sunny California?
It's wonderful. It's getting hot and hotter every day, but that's how we like it here.
That's fantastic. We're going to dive right in. I kind of gave you a little intro there, like your little marching tune. Powerbase is such a unique brand within the industry whereby, we've talked about on so many occasions, you guys literally control the entire process from conception to completion of every product that you do. And I know in our chat that this year, a big focus has kind of been targeting towards original equipment replacement applications. Can you tell us a little bit about the approach that Powerbase has when it comes to OE replacement speakers?
Yeah, for us, the advantage of being a factory is we can kind of do whatever we want, within limitations, of course. But we started to look at the fact that, a lot of the other guys that are on this session, they make really great speakers, they make really great subwoofers, and they make really great amplifiers. But we wanted to find a new niche that was kind of our thing because we were a factory. What could we do that was a little different, but also sped things up in the install bay, enabled the shop to get more customers in and out of the door, but also enabled them to create a new starting point. Because the reality is we all know that if you start in car audio, you want to grow from there. It's never good enough in a year. You want to upgrade and you want to upgrade again. And then before you know it, you're deep into it. And that's it's happened that way forever, right? So we decided, hey, let's start focusing more on direct fitment, things that would plug and play, things that would mimic the OE, but of course sound better and then allow for an upgrade down the line. And that led us to creating our OE direct fit series.
I mean, when it comes to that, that is a huge endeavor. I know you're talking about it kind of nonchalantly, but when you're getting into the game of OE replacement, there's got to be some challenges that you face when developing those type of products. And what are some of the objectives? Like, what is it? Do you want to do all of them? Are there certain SKUs? Like, how does that decision process happen, and what does it entail?
Yeah, I mean, it is a huge undertaking. And, there's some brands that work really well with the OEMs working on their actual OEM projects. Our factory does that on some other levels. But we're working more on the aftermarket yet OEM side. And the biggest hurdle that we found from that is trying to create a SKU that a customer could stock and then not have to stock a bunch of them to take care of that model. So one of the newest ones we have, I have it here, is the GM, for example. So we do this in a coaxial and a component. But, GM changed over the years. They went and changed terminals. They've changed tweeters. They've made some adjustments. So if we just made this would only fit so many models. But if we started to think about it and we added dual terminals on the back so that we can do late model and early model GM, now you can start to take care of a much wider range of vehicle. So that was a lot to figure out exactly how to nail that down and make it useful, so that you could only have to stock the one. Then when you really started to dig into it, you got into things like, like the tweeters, for example. Like, this is your newer model GM tweeter, but the older ones had this style. So how would you do both? Well, this tweeter pops out of this grill piece, and then it'll pop right back into this one, which then allows you to go through the different years, and this comes included in the kit. Now, the other side of this is that there's a lot of different harnesses through all these years. So we make harnesses for all the tweeter plugs. We also include the factory harness for the mid-range. So we try and make it as plug and play as possible. Now, are there some models that have like a weird plug that we just couldn't find, or it was a weird model? Sure. And that happens, but we've been pretty good at finding every possibility there is and thinking that through. And through that process, we started to realize that, like in the 6x9 replacement, which is the big thing now, everyone's kind of going to 6x9s up in the front door. The one thing that all of us forgot was the small stuff. And so we started to make the small replacements, which are like the 2.75s. These go up in the dash as well as the rear pillar. Sometimes they'll go in the B pillar. And this will plug into Bose and standard GM. This is our OE275 GM, but it comes in the component set in the 6x9. So the advantage of being a factory and being able to control that is that we're able to whip out tooling like this in no time. But I think the cool part is we figure out how to manipulate the factory tooling along with multiple year fitments so that you have multiple holes, multiple lining, multiple options as to where that basket can go into the factory, so that now that same look or same OEM fit can fit multiple years. And I think that's what really kind of started to enlighten us on what to do. When we worked on Toyota, we made some adjustments. We then grew from there and went into Ford, GM, Nissan. We're expanding out even more. So, I mean, it's a fun project. It's a lot of work, though.
I was just going to ask, you're starting to drop some different type of platforms. What can we expect as far as applications over the course of the next few months?
Right now, the GM is new and in stock. We are finishing up the GM 6.5 component, and that just comes down to this tweeter thing I was telling you about. And to get that tweeter to fit just right in place, everything has to line right up. So we're readjusting some measurements to make sure everything's good on that, and then we'll be ready to sell those. We are in the works right now in Jeep and Chrysler, and a lot of people just focused on Jeep and said, oh, we're going to make a cool Jeep kit because everybody owns a Jeep, right? But we actually are doing something that works in the Jeep, but also works in other Chrysler vehicles. So that now the dealer only has to stock the Jeep version because, Jeeps are super popular right now. But when mom and pop roll in there with their Chrysler and they need a replacement, we've got that too. And it's a plug and play thing. And the hardest part about this is taking the door panel off. So literally it's in and out. The money's made, the dealer is happy, the consumer is happy. And the cool thing is we do all of the tuning. We spend tons of time listening and looking at graphs and performance. And we verify that it's going to be better than the OEM, but even better when you amplify it. So when the customer comes back and wants more, all they have to do is add the 4-channel amplifier, amplify this, tune it, and maybe add a subwoofer the next time they come in. And before you know it, they now have got a multiple step customer whom they easily can upgrade when they just started with a set of factory replacements.
So designed and engineered to play off original source unit power, but ready to go and really outperform once you get some real power to them. That's
correct. Great. Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
All right. Let's talk beyond OE. I know that's a huge focus, but there are some pretty cool solutions that you guys got as well that go beyond direct fit applications, maybe like older vehicles. That's another trouble category. Yeah,
for sure. And that's again, going back to the advantage of being kind of in control of what we do and not just, picking this and picking that. We were able to develop the OE series, which used to be called the L2, but we changed that into the OE, and it's a 2-ohm series that fits in random fitments that most people don't think of. This is the 7-inch. So we have the OE 700. This is a 2-ohm 7-inch. With the Mark Levinson systems, they have a dual voice coil 6x9. So we decided to make that as well. And we also do a 4x10. We do a 2.75 Chrysler fit. So I'd like to say that Powerbase, sure, we make really good amplifiers and subwoofers, but all of these other brands, especially the guys that are with me today, have great product, and they have really great people behind them. And I feel that we can all coexist. Some dealers get behind one brand and they say, that's my house brand. I love this brand. And I'm always going to only carry this. Well, let me show you the solutions that I have that they probably don't, because they're focused on other things. And we were able to focus on the solutions and the parts they didn't have. So we're able to coexist with some of the greats out there. And I think because of that, we're starting to move up the ranks, because people start to listen to the product and go, wait a minute, this is actually great. And it is, because we spend so much time. I spend a ton of time listening and making adjustments to even the most minor of things.
You bring up a good point, and that brand, the Powerbase brand, certainly starting to get itself out there. But you guys are also not scared to try new things. And
no,
by that, I mean, I'm saving this last question for the end. We had a session. You're bringing out something totally off kilt, a different category, but yet unique. And I want you to give you every opportunity to talk about it. This foray into portables. Tell us all about it.
Yeah. So, through what we've all kind of gone through in the world, we started to think about, how do we expand? How do we get into something we can do quicker and something that everybody can use while they're just hanging out at home? And so we started to dive into portables. And we started with our Sound Cube, which is our BT50, just a nice little waterproof portable, AM, FM, also has SD card and Bluetooth built in, and you can take a phone call with this thing. Works really good. In testing, I threw it in the hot tub and pulled it out, and everything was fine. So that's how I knew we were good to go. But my favorite,
the Eric Harbour spa test.
What's that?
It passed the Eric Harbour hot tub test.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah,
absolutely.
So my favorite is the split. So this is the BT200, and this has become everybody's favorite, because you can take that off, pop it apart, and split it into 2 speakers. Now, I've tested this at the pool. You can put one on one side of the pool, one on the other, and you got stereo surround right in the middle of the pool. So you really bring the party to the pool with true wireless stereo right here with the BT200. And we spent a lot of time listening and adjusting and making sure things were right. We wanted to have every little bit of detail correct and make a product that was us, but in a portable form. And I think we really knocked it out of the park with our portables, and we've got more coming in those lineups as well.
Yeah, that's a really unique one. Stereo portable. I think it makes it unique in its own. You see the information below. If you're looking for all this information, tons of new products, and more specifically, maybe the application charts for some of this OE, direct replacement stuff, check it out. Powerbaseusa.com is the website. If you're a Canadian dealer tuning in, you want to get a hold of the folks at BB Distribution. They're the ones that handle the distribution for Powerbase in Canada. Eric, I want to say thank you for coming in, and
thanks for having me.
Keep going on that application-specific stuff. I really think there's a future in that. It makes so much sense, and if you could make it in a way that dealers don't have to overstock 5 million different SKUs, like you're saying, to your point, I think you have a winner there. So thank you very much for coming in.
Thanks, man.
Take care.
See ya.
All right, that was Eric from Powerbase with some very unique product, and see the direction that they're going as far as OE application and even some portables. Very, very interesting stuff. Let's move on to our very next brand. Wow, this brand's a big brand, a favorite to many, and certainly a busy year that they've had, releasing some pretty innovative gear. Of course, I'm talking about JL Audio. And to tell us more about everything that they have, we have technical and applications trainer for JL coming in today, Mr. Matt Mergenthal. I'd like to welcome him to the studio.
Hi, Ben. Good to see you.
Welcome. First time to CMA. Thanks for taking the time today.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Now, I wasn't kidding. You guys at JL have had a busy couple of months, even through, everything that we've been through. You guys came out with a pretty innovative product. I want you to talk about it, but more recently, there's been an update when it comes to the Tune software. Can you tell us all about it and some of the features that this new update has to offer?
Absolutely. So stepping back a little bit, when we unveiled Tune 4 and Max, Tune 4 has brought on what we call a new measure tab, and it has gives you the ability to take measurements within Tune software and overlay the EQs of like the VXI and MVI amplifiers. It's really handy to use. So when we launched that, the measure tab was new, and now a couple months later, we've added Tweak as part of the measure tab. So Tweak is now fully integrated for all you tweakers out there. So now you can use the auto set EQ algorithms and the delay finders with Tweak, which is really cool. Aside from that, we've also added third-party mic calibration file support. So if you have like a Dayton microphone or Audio Frog microphone and you have a calibration file, now you have the ability to add that to Tune 4 so that you're getting accurate mic readings with your microphone. Of course, if you buy a Max, that is not necessary. Max comes fully calibrated. You plug it in and you don't need to upload any type of calibration file for that. Aside from that, we've made some really nice UI improvements, like we've moved the EQ button on the graph around to a more accessible spot. We've also made the traces on the graph able to be made thinner or thicker, so we can change the offset, and some other normal UI improvements and bug fixes and whatnot. So Tune 4.5 is really big for us. Tune 4.50, I'm sorry, really big for us because it includes that tweak support and all these new features for you.
You obviously mentioned the Max system, and how can you not? If you're going to talk about Tune, you're going to talk about Max. And it's been touted as one of the most innovative and complete tuning measurement systems available. I want to give you the opportunity to tell us why you think that stands true.
Why I think it stands true? So Max is really, it's really cool. So Max is unparalleled in its ability to take electrical and acoustical measurements using dual FFT technology and all the other things we've implemented to it. So one of the cool things we have with Max is you get the spatial average with the 5 mic array. So the 5 mic array is really nice because it eliminates any specific anomalies that might happen in a single mic position. A lot of times, when tuning a car or whatever you're tuning, single mic can you can get those readings that if it never moves, they could be misleading. And what's nice about the spatial average is it takes an average of the space that your head's in, so you get a much more accurate reading on your RTAs for your head position. And then on top of that, we have the dual FFT technology, so we can take impulse response, phase, and magnitude measurements live in real time. So that's really handy. And Max it's not car specific. It's not even JL Audio specific. It can be used in any audio system. It can measure anything. So home audio, pro audio, car audio, just to name a few. Marine audio as well. But Max also is really good for like OEM integration. We have a set of high level inputs that can measure Class D amplifiers or radios, whatever you're working with, up to 80 volts peak. So it's we can measure, like, for example, like an RD 1500 full tilt. I'm not challenging you, but it can do it. We have some other nice features on here. We have a RCA analog output, a digital input and output, and some other cool things that you can do. So here's a set of probes here that we would use. So it's a set of XLR probes. We sell these, but we also have on our help center. You can make them yourself. We have a link to how you can make them if you choose to do that. And we also can take impedance measurements with Max, and that's really helpful because you can do things with impedance, like you can compare two speakers. If you think that you have a bad speaker, you can compare one measurement to the other measurement and see, okay, is one speaker behaving differently than the other? And then you can also use it for insulation. So if you're putting on a door panel and you're not sure if the door panel is going to clear the speaker, you can take an impedance measurement of that, you can capture it, and then you can put the panel on, and if it changes the measurement because it made contact with the speaker in some way, you'll see that. And it's really handy. Like I said, it's great for acoustic and electric measurements, and it's just really, in my opinion, it's the one of the most powerful measurement systems in the car, home, marine audio markets today. So I mean, the cool thing is it's been out for a couple of months, and that means that there are dealers. I've seen it on Facebook. They're very proud to get their Max system at their shop. But what has the feedback been now that dealers have had a chance to play with it and use it real world, real time? So I've had some feedback, pretty good feedback. What I've heard from one dealer was that it's the most valuable tool in his shop. He uses it on every car, regardless of DSP or not. And it's pretty cool because obviously we talked about OEM integration and electrical measurement, which is really good at that. But what it can also do acoustically is simple systems that maybe you didn't think previously, oh, I should pull out my measurement system. Like if you had a sub amp and you just had a head radio with speakers in the car, you can easily throw the mics in real quick and look at the crossover range where the subwoofer integrates with the main speakers, just to make sure you have good summation. And it just makes it fast and accurate. You don't have to sit in the car and play with it for 10, 20 minutes. You just pop the mics in there and check it real quick and you're good to go. Some other feedback that we've had was how easy it is to tune with MVI or VXI amplifiers. It makes it really, really simple because they're integrated so well. So we've had a lot of dealers talking about how excited they are to use the VXI and MVI products specifically with Tune 4. and it's really working out well for us. So.
On that note, that piques my interest, because obviously, if I know JL, they're going to build things to work with their own components. There's going to be some added value, some extra perks when the full system comes together, all JL. So you mentioned that the dealers are providing great feedback when using this system, when tuning MVI and VXI amplifiers. Can you talk to us a little bit more about what those advantages may be?
Yeah, absolutely. So when you're using VXI or MVI with Max and Tune specifically, what you get is you get the RTA overlay of the EQ and the measurements right on screen. So you can use a single laptop or computer. You don't have to have multiple screens to do this. It's really handy and seamless with VXI and MVI, because we have some micro automations in Tune 4, and basically they're little aids throughout the platform that allow you to they help you to speed things up. So like the auto set EQ micro automation that we use will apply an EQ to match the trace that you're measuring to its target, and it can do that in seconds. And even someone who's really good at it, it might take you a minute or two to dial in each EQ band. So to shave off minutes and minutes of your time on just EQ alone. And then we also have the delay finder algorithm, which you can use we call it the true delay finder. And when you hit the find delay button, you can then insert the delta delay, the difference between one channel or another, into the DSP automatically. Now, obviously, it's really, really seamless and tightly integrated with VXI and MVI amplifiers. It does also work with other DSPs. We didn't want to make this tool something that you could only use with JL Audio products. As we mentioned earlier, you can tune anything with this. So what's cool is you can use the Tune's passband specific targets and the target generator using whatever system you're tuning, and then you would need obviously the software for whatever other DSP you're using, and you could use the same computer or a separate computer. But even with that, it's still going to be very tightly a much more efficient process, because you do have the spatial average still, as well as you're able to see the phase and impulse response and magnitude in real time. So it does really make it faster and more efficient to get better results sooner. And I think to kind of sum that up, the idea with Max was we want you to be done measuring and listening sooner, instead of spending a whole bunch of time taking measurements all day or even listening for hours and hours. We want you to get the objective measurements done quickly, and then hop in the car and take a listen and spend 30 minutes, an hour and a half listening to the car rather than just measuring. So with Tune and Max, I mean, sub 1 hour tunes are easily achievable to a very high level. So
very nice, very nice. Now, I'd be remiss if I didn't bring up something you touched on very earlier on in our conversation. You said that the new 4.50 update to software Tune also updates Tweak functionality. So does that make the Tweak standalone DSP, which has been up for a little bit now, more relevant than ever before?
So I think that the Tweak support that we have now with Tune 4 and Max is fantastic, and it's really going to help to get maybe people that are even new to DSP into liking to use DSP. I mean, Tune 4 itself, even if you don't have a Max, is very powerful with the target generator and the passband specific targets. So being able to use that with Tweak and use the auto set EQ algorithms and the delay finder if you have Max, those are really, really helpful for Tweak. And Tweak is absolutely still something that should be used all the time, especially in systems that you may already have amplifiers. You're not looking to upgrade your amplifiers, but you want to take your system to the next level. Absolutely. Throw a Tweak in there and, send signal into your amplifiers that you have, and use Tune 4, and it'll take tuning in that car and the stereo soundstage to the next level. So
amazing. You'll see the information below, guys. If you're looking for more information on everything Matt's talking about, jlaudio.com is where you want to check that out. And if you happen to be a dealer in Canada, well, Gemsen is the exclusive distributor for JL Audio products across Canada. Give the people at Gemsen a call. Matt, I want to take the time to say thank you for coming in and sharing with us all these new updates with Max and Tune.
Thank you very much for having us, Ben.
All right, take care now.
You too.
All right, that was Matt coming in from JL Audio. And as we get into our next brand, just did a session with them yesterday. Lots of new products coming from this camp. The brand belongs to Electromedia. The brand is called Hertz, and their international technical marketing manager is with us today. His name is Ken Ward.
Hey, Ben. Thanks for having me.
I'm getting good at saying your title. I'm getting good at saying your
You
title.
are. You really, it rolls off the lips after a
It
while.
does. It absolutely does. You've been a busy little guy going all across the world. I see your Facebook and your social media. You're traveling. You have an international status, so you're talking to dealers all over the world, Ken. What have been some of the new products for 2022? Seems like Hertz has been real busy. Can you name us a few?
Well, Hertz has been really busy. I was listening to Matt, and I almost ran over to my closet and changed into a different shirt because I wanted to talk about our measurement equipment. But I'm wearing a Hertz shirt today, so we're going to talk about other gear. We just launched a 10-inch and a 12-inch high output, high power handling, shallow subwoofer set. I think that's the one that we talked about right off. We just introduced a high capability, powerful 8-channel DSP in a small form factor. And that we've talked about how a lot of manufacturers have come out with small DSPs that are low in function and low in features. And a lot of dealers have sort of decided that the size is an indication of the capability. And we decided to see how much we could put into a compact DSP. So that's another product that we've just come out with. I think we talked about a motorcycle amplifier, and we talked about a component set. We've just had parts in all of our categories that we've been coming out with. But the big excitement has been centered around our subwoofer.
Yeah, that subwoofer has been getting a lot of news, a lot of traction. We covered it ad nauseum, going through everything about it that makes it special. But I want you to take this opportunity and share with us, because I don't know how to phrase this. There's a lot of companies coming out with shallow subwoofers, right? It's kind of like the deal right now. There's a lot of, but yours there's some special stuff to it. I want to give you an opopportunity to talk to us about it.
Back when I started in car audio, back when Reagan was president and dinosaurs roamed the earth, a 10-inch subwoofer went in a box that was like 1.4, 1.5 cubic feet to get good performance. And I can count on the fingers of one hand how often we actually had that kind of space for a 10-inch subwoofer. So what we would do is we would build the box that would fit in the location that we had, and we would jam what we had into it. And then we wouldn't get good low bass. We would have presence in the middle bass so we could hear where the subwoofer was. Nowadays, we've got subs that work in really small enclosures, but they haven't always been easy to fit. And one of the biggest categories that our dealers tell us they want to put subwoofers in is in full-size trucks that are crew cab underneath the back seat. There's other places for sure, but that's a big one. And so this is the first shallow subwoofer in the Hertz family. And one of the things that we learned from looking at the market was that a lot of shallow subwoofers are medium to maybe, well, I'll call them medium power, right? A lot of times that woofer didn't have incredibly good cooling, and so you couldn't put it in too high power of an application. And so this subwoofer is rated at 500 watts of RMS power and 1,000 watts of peak power. And that's 25% more than the units that we saw on the market that people were using in that spot. So in order to get it as tight as possible, we made sure that we didn't have vents on the back, because if you have vents on the back, you need to have a certain amount of clearance to make sure that you don't close off those vents. And so that limits how deep an enclosure you can put it into. We also looked at the excursion, because excursion is much easier with a traditional depth subwoofer driver. And we have 20% more mechanical excursion than the benchmarks that we saw on product that was being used in the field.
So that's no surprise that so much engineering has gone into a single speaker subwoofer, because what I'm going to ask you next is kind of explain to the people when it comes to Hertz, this is kind of where Hertz began, is in speakers. And I want you to tell us what makes Hertz as a company unique when it comes to car audio speakers.
This was an interesting story, because I wasn't aware of the roots of the brand about being in the States And essentially, Audison, our sister brand, was our first brand, and we had a lot of amplifiers, and our amplifiers were being used with a lot of speaker drivers that were really designed to be in a home speaker cabinet. And if you took those speakers and you put them in a display board where they're pointing at you, they sounded a lot like they did in a home speaker cabinet. But if you took them and you put them in a car door where you rotate them almost 90 degrees and you install them off axis and you separate the tweeter, what you got was a really different batch of performance numbers, and they weren't symmetrical left and right. And they suffered in that location from the off-axis performance of a 165 millimeter speaker when it's not pointed at you. So one of the ways you can address that is a three-way speaker kit. And we have a lot of three-way speaker kits in our lineup. We have a pretty broad catalog. But not all cars easily take a three-way kit. In fact, most cars don't. And the most popular speaker driver combo in our industry is a 165 millimeter door woofer paired with a tweeter of some kind. So Hertz has taken great pains at every price point to make sure that the tweeter is able to play mechanically lower frequencies than what we see a lot of other speaker companies choose. And I understand that the most important thing is to make sure that you don't blow up the tweeter, but it's also really important to make sure that when you put it in a car door, the tweeter can play notes that the 6.5 might struggle with in an off-axis location. So to put that another way, from day one, Hertz was created to focus on speakers that work in the eventual application, not in the display board that the customer not optimized for the display board the consumer might hear them in.
Yeah, that is a very fair statement, and they've been continuing to do so. Let's talk about some SKUs that are hot right now. For those that are tuning in, might not have sold Hertz before, might be interested in the line. What are a couple of the key SKUs that you could recommend that definitely are signature Hertz products that do well?
Well, I know that one that some dealers have had some success with, and it's not at a flagship price point, but we have a kit called the DPK that I think we talked about the other day, that has a 6.5 that's really sensitive, and then a tweeter that plays really low. Another driver that has gotten rave reviews from dealers has been the MPS 250, which is the shallow subwoofer that we just talked about. It comes with the grill, because we heard that dealers didn't want to have a separate grill SKU if they could avoid it. And it's available in 2 ohm and 4 ohm versions. Now, let's see. The S8 DSP, I think I mentioned the compact DSP a little while ago, and those are actually going to be arriving later this summer at Automobility. And that one's going to allow people to put DSP in some weather exposed places that are smaller than they're used to for a Hertz product.
I'm going to add one that I've heard, and that is the Cento sub. That one seems to be real popular amongst dealers. I see them in installs all the time.
Thanks for underlining that. We've had some really good results with the Cento sub. I had a dealer actually who was experienced with some of those SPL type woofers that have massive magnets where you have to lift with your legs to take it out of the carton. And at our urging, they built a box for 2 Cento subs vented. And they literally said, how does a speaker that doesn't have this massive magnet on it generate this kind of bass? I told them it was a secret.
Yeah.
Yeah, the output capability of the Cento sub, it's in that part of the market where you're not getting a cast frame and a massive magnet and a lot of weight. One thing that product managers will tell you is that the heavier and larger a product gets, the more of its sale price is going to be wrapped up in transport. But Cento is
definitely,
actually
there's got to be some truth to that.
We're really spending the customer's cash on the best performance we can get at that price point.
Very, very cool. My last question, I think this is a strong message question that I want to give you an opportunity to say. Is what are the reasons why dealers who are current Hertz dealers love Hertz? I mean, they advertise it. They're tattooed Hertz. Can you tell us why? What is the secret? What's going on there behind the scenes?
Well, we're obviously a broad line, and we're a member of a pretty small group that actually is able to control manufacturing all the way through on a majority of their units, because we own our speaker factory, and they make speakers for us. Because our product is engineered to perform in the eventual location, we always make our customers look good. I've certainly had instances where I've sold speakers that were supposed to be high performance speakers, and I put them in a car and the wheels fell off. Not the car, but the sound just didn't hold up once we got everything working. And so taking the position that we want our speakers to sound best where they're supposed to sound best, and we trust our dealer network to present our product properly, rather than just depending on the way it sounds in the board. That drives the way that we plan out our product, whether it's a speaker, an amplifier, a DSP, a subwoofer enclosure, any of those things.
Very, very best. You'll see the information under us if you're looking to find out all the information about product, including the new product like the subwoofer, the shallow sub that Ken's talking about, Hertz Audio. If not, if you're Canadian and you're like, yeah, get me some of this Hertz stuff, get a hold of the folks at Automobility. Automob.ca is the website. Ken, thank you so much. I know you have some big announcements this weekend at K-Fest as well. And you and I will be chatting there live on Saturday. So we're going to get the scoop from you then.
I will see you there.
Take care now. Thank you. All right. That was Ken Ward from Electromedia. Today, he's got his Hertz Audio shirt on. And we've got one final guest, heavyweight, absolutely heavyweight, because this man can talk your ear off when it comes to performance, when it comes to DSP, when it comes to competition and sound quality, and pretty much anything that has to do with car audio. I also always enjoy my time with him. He represents ARC Audio. He's the international sales manager, none other than Mr. Fred Lynch.
Hey Ben, how you doing?
What's going on, Fred? You know I had to save you for the best for last.
You need the extra time on the end, right? Because I talk too much.
I'm not kidding me. We're here to talk about ARC Audio. We're talking about car audio. Really interesting collection of different types of products tonight. ARC Audio is definitely in there as a higher end, full line offering. You know, everything from speakers to subs to amps to DSP and everything in between. But you were here just to tell us that stuff that we already know, because I heard through the grapevine that you boys over there and girls are expanding in what you're already known for, which is DSP, with some multi-channel amplifiers, a new one. Can you tell us about them?
Well, I mean, we started back quite a few years ago with the PS8, and we had great success with it. And we, of course, 3 years ago launched the Pro Series DSP line, and people still wanted more and more and more. I mean, one of the big focuses that we've had as a company is putting the power of tuning back into the hands of the user, the installer. And in the case of automation failing, we always strive to teach people the basic fundamentals of tuning, so that way they know how to fall back and be able to fix whatever automation hasn't provided. And there's some great tools out there, so definitely don't steer away from it. But we wanted to make sure that we offered even bigger, grander, and more fruitful things as far as technology. So one of the things that we've done is we had, with the Pro Series DSP, we had come out with our PSA50. People loved it. It was underrated. We delivered more power, more performance, better sound than what people wanted. And of course, then people said, "Hey, we want more channels." So what we did is we're actually we're rebalancing, call it that, the technology within our DSP program, and we're actually expanding it out to where we can do multiple, even more channels than the 8 channels. One of the examples, I knew you were going to ask me about it, so we brought it.
Do I have a choice in the matter, really?
But yeah, here it is, right here. It's not out available. It's not out yet. We're finishing everything up and getting ready to go into production with it. But it's called the Blackbird, and this is something that's really exciting because it's still the same compact amplifier that everybody got used to with the PSA50, but it's over 2.5 times the power. In fact, that this is 125 watts by 8, plus it has 4 additional channels of DSP on it, so you can sit here and run it all. You can run additional amplifiers amplifiers off of it, and have everything controllable through the single DSP platform. But the best part is through other technologies, though, that I'm sure we'll talk about here in a little bit. You can actually expand these into multiple processors and run these in multiple configurations for higher channel applications. Digital in, analog in, tons of power, but also super efficient. So these things work great for vehicles that don't have huge charging systems in either. But 8 channels at 125 watts at 4 ohms. And then, of course, the 2 ohm power rating is just even higher than that. But we're using that as a platform, and that platform there is opening up to things that we've already started hinting towards. And that is, we are significantly growing our DSP lineup, including our compact DSPs. Ken hit it on the money. A lot of people have this stereotype of, small DSPs mean small features. Well, the new one that we have on the way will absolutely take away all the stereotypes on that as well. But like I say, it's been a huge endeavor. We're coming out with a matching subwoofer amplifier as well. Same physical size, almost 1,000 watts of power, and once again, focusing on those small compact solutions, giving you real power and giving you that transparent signal, because our customers are more the specialty and boutique style customers that are looking for that high-end, high-performance sound quality based product, and that's what this is all about.
So that first amplifier you're holding, that one is codenamed?
This one's called the Blackbird.
And the mono companion amp was called?
Nighthawk.
Blackbird and Nighthawk. So you're talking about, obviously, impressive power out of the gate. Like, that's a ton of power at 8 channels. That's nuts. Yep. You hinted on it. I want you to elaborate a little bit more. What are some of the key features and benefits for these new multi-channel amplifiers that did not exist previously?
Well, I mean, so some of the features actually are improvements over some of the older features where people wanted to expand. I mean, first of all, when we talk about networking in this technology, one of the things about the Pro Series DSP platform that we came out with, the PSA Pro, was our ability to have Maestro integration. And, people are looking at some of these OEM vehicles and, they want that plug and play options. They can't necessarily remove the factory radio out of their system to be able to, replace that factory head unit. One thing that with the Maestro integration is you can use the Maestro AR module, plug it directly into our DSP and have everything work. But now, instead of being limited just to a single 8 channel, you have a single 12 channel, or in our case, you could actually network multiple Maestro AR modules together. And you can have either, if you do use the 8 channel, you can do 8, 16, 24, 32, or you can do 12, 24, 36,
hold on.
48.
I've seen that in a Ford Flex before. Pretty sure I've seen that setup.
Yeah, that one we've got 3 processors in it.
That's what I thought.
But like I say, technology-wise, we're really expanding the resolution, we're expanding the power, we're increasing efficiency. The resolution, especially for the high-end market, full native 96K. I mean, it goes beyond that, but there's just not content available beyond that, at least without fluffy marketing attached to it. So,
yeah, fair enough.
But like I said, we're really looking at the multi-channel aspect as well as the network capability of these. More processing, more features, REW compatibility. We're looking at incorporating in other technologies for doing integration and tuning. And it's such an expandable platform now because there's so much memory and so much process capability there that the future is extremely bright for this.
Oh, that's amazing. Very good news for the higher end clientele. But let's not forget the intermediate clientele, because that's a lot of bread and butter business, right? Yeah. And in that market, Arc Audio has a series which is super popular, especially amongst dealers, because it performs, it's got great value, and I want you to tell us all about it, and that is the X2 series.
So the X2 series has definitely been our go-to line now for a couple of years, and we've made a couple of revisions with it. X2 amplifiers, we have several SKUs in it, basically from a traditional 85x4 amplifier all the way up to the 5-channel with a 500 watt back end. And then we also have the second version, called the second stage of it, which goes from 150 watts by 4 ohms or 2 ohms on the 4-channel. And I mean, the thing's not very big at all the way up to our big 6-channel, which is one of our most popular models at 150 by 6 at 4 ohms or 2 ohms, or you can bridge out the sub channels on 5.6 out to 600 watts on the sub. We have tons of guys that love using those for three-way systems, as well as also two-way systems. And then, of course, we have the big monoblocks, 1100 watt, which is strappable. We also have a 2500 watt monoblock that's in that lineup as well. And then let's not forget the speakers and the subwoofers. The speakers have become a target go-to product for many, many retailers, with the biggest complaint saying that for the price, it gives several products in much more expensive product categories a run for their money. So, and then the subwoofers, the X2 subwoofer lineup, we've got the 10-inch and 12-inch subwoofers in there. They are a great ground pounder street SQ sub. They have all the technologies that our upper end speakers have, as well as far as thermal compliance and being able to handle the abuse that some customers might have on it. But at the same time, relatively small, reasonable enclosures that makes it usable and keeps people happy and just playing for days.
Might I add, there's some pretty clean cosmetics built in there as well.
Yep. And we're already working on the future for that too. Keep that
looking, so. Okay. Fair enough. Maybe a little A 2.0 or X 2.0. Arc Audio, this is an interesting one. I can't wait to hear this. Also came out with some shallow subs recently, and they're called the A series, which I've seen some great feedback on, especially from competitors, people losing their marbles, saying, what the hell? So I want to hear from the horse's mouth. Tell me, Mr. Lynch, about the new Arc Audio A series shallow subs.
So the A series shallow subwoofers was a co-op developed engineering program between ourselves and another engineer overseas that we like to consult with. We have no problem giving some credit where credit's due there. But the concept on it was, and a couple of the other guys have talked about it, is one, being able to give yourself a full-size style subwoofer sound, but in a shallow platform, giving you the output as well as also in small enclosures. That has always been an issue, especially in those truck enclosures, extra cab, crew cab applications, under the seat, behind the seat, and so on. And we wanted something that can provide the same style output performance that you would get out of a full-size enclosure, but in these compact applications. You mentioned the Ford Flex, for example. That thing has 3 of those A10s in it, in a full gross common sealed enclosure, 1.3 cubic foot seal.
Wow.
And we're driving well over 1,000 watts into those right now. Now, that's not the rated power on them, but they are severely over-designed in order to make sure that they can handle those higher power applications that people like to use. Put clean signal into it, listen to it responsibly. Those things will continue to play all day long, and they're very versatile towards abuse. But small, compact, full output, high performance, and available in dual 2 and dual 4. But as everybody's heard it, they sit there, we make them listen to it first, and then we tell them what it is, and they start scratching their head. But once again, designed like a lot of our drivers, they're designed for the car audio market, for the actual applications they're going into, and it made to be extremely versatile and designed off of the feedback from our customers and our dealers.
Very, very good. I want to end our conversation today, Fred, because I feel like this series certainly deserves some time. There's a big story behind it I want you to share with us in the little time that we have left. Tell us about your top-of-the-line RS series of speakers.
So the RS line series was our first in-house high-end reference line, and we spent a lot of time on it. We actually co-developed that in the final stages with a couple of engineers out of Denmark. And so we really like some of the European styling and sound out of the pro audio and high-end home audio market. But obviously, those typical style designs don't necessarily work specifically for car audio applications. So we had to do something that was going to be for the car audio market. So we developed the RS series. And this was a 100% ground up, 100% engineered, just like the rest of our products, line that we have brought to the market. And this is, of course, is what our competitors are competing with. This is what all of our high-end customers are competing with. Very much catered around being an active system. So we have it available in tweeter, 3-inch, 4-inch, and 6-inch. And we have other things planned for the future as well that we are actively working on. And this line has continued to turn heads. Once again, like all of our products, it's designed to be transparent and clear. We're not trying to feed artificial anything by engineering certain sounds into it. And once again, definitely designed to be used and abused, I hate to say, even for the most demanding and roughest of customers on there. But once again, we've had it out since 2018, and all of our competitors, including several of our national champions who continue to win over and over and over again, are using that line as the speaker of choice. So
Very, very good. I think that speaks volumes. Fred, that's it. Thank you for coming in and covering with us everything going on at Arc Audio. ArcAudio.com for more info. If you're a Canadian dealer, get a hold of the team at Importel. They are the exclusive distributor for Canada, and they'll set you up some Arc Audio gear. Really cool. By the way, I got to give you kudos for those code names. The code names definitely work for me. And of course, I'm referring to Blackbird and Nighthawk. Keep on coming up with names like that. Thanks so much, Fred.
absolutely. Definitely.
Take
Thank
care
you.
now. And that's it. Thanks for hanging in with us on this CMA Live all about car audio. I hope you learned something as much as I did. Tried to give you a good selection of different brands and different products so you can stay well informed and make the right choices for your business this season. I want to thank all our brands that joined us tonight. Of course, Hertz Audio, Arc Audio, Powerbase, JL Audio, and Sony. Be sure to join us for our next CMA Live on Wednesday, June 15th, as we switch gears a little bit, and we'll be spotlighting the leading brands in sound editing, a category that we have not yet touched. I'm super excited to have the top brands in sound editing come in and talk to us about what makes their material different and better than the rest. Continue tuning in to CMA Networks right through till June 14th as we continue our journey into car audio brands through their car audio sessions. We feature the premier brands in the category, as you can see there with the image in front of you right there. And of course, if you haven't already, go check out our website, cmanetworks.com. Hundreds of videos to choose from. You could search for your favorite brands either by category or by trainer. And pretty much everybody that's been on with us tonight has their own profile page. We've done some tremendous work together in creating training videos for you guys, the dealers, so that you are always well informed. That's it. Thanks for hanging in there and tuning into this CMA Live presented by SiriusXM. I'm your host, Ben Wu. Until next time, we connect.
I mean, yeah, let's talk about
Stop
it. Today where I'm going to
Yo, roll it down.
I am.
You don't need a car to listen to SiriusXM. You can listen anywhere. You know that, right?
What? Kevin Hart's Laugh Out Loud Radio.
Kevin, you could use your phone.
What? What?
Alexa, play Kevin Hart's Laugh Out Loud Radio on SiriusXM.
What?
This is how I know you're getting old. I guess that was it.
What?